Welcome back. The next thing we are going to do is to get our dart point. There is no way we are going to draft a corset without having a dart point. Even if the bodice does not have a dart, we still need those lines to get our corset. So the first thing we are going to do, we are going to get our waist dart point. So my and we are getting it through our nipple to nipple measurement, which everybody knows. So my nipple to nipple measurement is 8, so I'm going to divide it by 2, which is 4. I'll do this for the front. I'll also do this for the back. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to mark it also at the hip line. I'm going to mark it at the hip line. So after doing this, we also get the middle of our back, the shoulder for the back and the shoulder for the front. We get the middle. So for the back, this is 468. So 468 divided by 2, that's 238. So now that I've gotten our line, the next thing we are going to do, we are going to connect. We are going to connect everything together, all the lines. This is for the back, and this is for the front. So after doing that, the next thing we are going to do, I've also connect it to the bust line. That is the original bust line, not the one that we used to get our armor. So I'm going to connect it also. So after connecting it like this, the next thing we are going to do is we are going to connect it to the middle of the shoulder. So now we have gotten our dart points. These are our dart points. So as it is okay. You can decide to make a bodice with this. If you decide to, you can make a bodice with this. Now the next thing we are going to do is to get our empire. There's what to call empire line. You can call it under bust curve, but this is called empire line. So how do we get this? The first thing you are going to do is you are going to get our radius, our bust radius. Bust radius is like the area where our breast is. Where our bust is, that is where it's called the bust radius. So that's what we're going to get. And how do we get it? We're going to use the measurement from the bust line to under bust line. Then we're going to mark it around the bust line, then form a circle. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure. This is 4 inch. So 4 inch, I'm going to measure 4 inch all round. I'm going to measure the 4 inch all round. So now that I've gotten this, the next thing we're going to do is I will use these marks to form a circle. So this is it. This is where this is the bust area. So after getting this, the next thing we are going to do is to get to get our the other bust difference from the paper and the actual measurement. So what are we going to do? We are going to measure 21, and my under bust circumference is 32. So 32, this is 21. So 32, you are going to divide it by 2. Then minus this from it. So 21 minus 16, which will give us 5. This we are going to divide it by 2, which is 2, 4, 8. We're also going to divide this by 2, which is 1, divided by 2, 1, 2, 8. So I'm going to measure it along this circle. I'm not measuring it on the straight line. I'm measuring it on the circle line, on the radius line. So from this point, this line, this dot line, I'm going to measure it. 1 to 8. So these are my marks. So I'm going to connect it to my nipple point. Now, after doing that, I'm going to connect it from here to the nipple point at the bust point, the dart point at the hip line. So now that I've gotten this, the next thing we are going to do is I'm going to get a curvy line. Um, so now that I have gotten this, so this is what we call an empire contour. This is what we call an empire contour. So here you can decide. So from here we can decide to you can get your patterns. You can get your panels. Sorry, you can get your panels. You can decide how many panel you want. But for this the style I'm going for, I'm okay with this. This how many panels? This is 1. This is 2, 3. Yeah, and yeah. So I'm okay with this. You can decide to draft uh, draw as many panels as you want. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'll come up here by 2 inch. I'm just come up here by 2 inch for use later. So I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to cut out the excess. So I'm going to also cut out. I'm supposed to draw this. I'm supposed to withdraw this. And this. So so for the back, there's what we call back alteration. So why measurement? Why measuring? That's when you get the measurement. So after, so how we are getting, the next thing we are going to do is we are going to get our we are going to shape our back. You know, there this shaping, it comes with you know, for the back, when you, after sewing a dress, at the back there is always like a fold at the back. So that fold is what I'm trying to eliminate. And how do we get this fold? Why measuring? That is how we get our measurement. Your waist, your waist, your front waist measurement and your back waist measurement is not always the same. But most people assume that it is the same, but it is not the same. So why measuring? You're going to get your clients or your own front waist measurement and your back waist measurement. For me, my front waist measurement is 16 and a half, while my back waist measurement is 14 and half. So in first front waist length and back waist length. So my front waist length is 16 and a half, while the back waist length is 14 and a half. So the difference is 2. So from here I'm going to measure. So the measurement is already on the under bust line. So I'm going to just mark it here, mark it. Then I'm going to take my, don't forget that this is our under bust and this is our waist line. So I'm going to take my ruler and join it this way. So as it is, I'm going to fold to see if it aligns with the actual waist. I'll fold it in. Yeah, it's aligned, as you can see. It's aligning. So we are good to go. So I'm going to cut it now. So I'm going to use my paper tape to join it. So here, the excess here, I'm just going to connect it back to the hip. It does not change anything. So now we have eliminated that bulge. There's always a bulge here. That's what I eliminated. So the next thing we are going to do now is the corset, the dartless corset I'm going for is a Victorian corset. So, and it is an asymmetric neckline corset, which means that what is at one side is not going to be what is at the other side. So I'm going to have to draft another of this and another of this. So instead of drafting again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace out all this on a new paper. So here is a new paper. So I'm going to place it here, just like this. So I've successfully placed it on another paper and I've taped it down. So in order for it not to move, that was the reason why I did that. So after doing this, the next thing you're going to do, you take your tracing wheel, you take your tracing wheel, then you trace out all the lines that we have here. So I'm going to start with my hip line. So I'm going to draw, I'm going to draw out all the lines. So I'll do the same thing for the back. I'll do the same thing for the back. First, I have to tape it down to make it stable. Just as I did for the front, I'm going to draw it out. I will draw it out and I will cut out the excess. So this is the back, and this is our front. So the back, I'm going to leave it as it is. Okay, this is how it's supposed to be. I'm going to leave it as it is because there's supposed to be either an eyelet, lacing, or a zip there. So I'm going to connect these two. I'll connect these two together. I'll tape it together. So I'm going to connect all of them together as you see. So this is how it's going to be. I'm not taping it down, but this is how it is going to be. So as you can see here now, this is a full basic um block. This is a full basic block. Okay, I think I've not done this. So this is a full basic block. This is the front, two front and two backs. So now here you can also decide here, okay, how many panels. No, as it is now, this is one, this is two, three, four, five, six. This is six panels. If you decide, if you want to add, if you want it to have a lacing or an eyelet, you are going to add two extra panels here, making it this one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. So 7 plus 2, that's 9, plus 2, that is 11. You can add one more anywhere you see, you decide to. You can add two more, sorry. So as it is now, I want to as I said before, it is an asymmetric neckline. So I'm going to decide which side I want to use. So the asymmetric neckline is it is a one shoulder neckline. So one shoulder for it is going to be, I will cut out one shoulder, then leave one shoulder. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to decide I'm going to decide how wide I want my shoulder to be on this side. I'm going to decide how wide I want my shoulder to be. So let's say I want to use half. This is the half. So you can decide to come up, maybe you can decide to use 1 inch. Okay, I just want to remove 1 inch from my shoulder. You can decide in any way you want, but I want to use the middle of my shoulder. So from here and here, I will also decide how low I want my neckline to be here. So don't forget that this is around our bust, which means if it is closer to here, your bust is going to be showing at one side. So you're going to decide, okay, let me make it 3 inch. So this is my 3 inch here. So I'm going to I don't know, that marker is finished, the ink is finished, so I can't use it again. So I have to continue with this one. I'm going to make it as thick as possible. Yeah, so this is how it's going to be. Now I've done for the front. Don't forget that whatever you're doing for the front is what you're going to do for the back. So now, in order to avoid mistakes, we are going to decide, okay, this side is, this is the center back, as you can see. So it is going to start from here. I don't know if you understand. Don't forget that they are going to be facing each other. The fronts are going to be facing each other. That's why I placed it on top of each other, to know which side I'm going to start my um which side I'm going to start my, okay, let me place it this way so it can be easier. So this is the side I'm going to use. So all I'm going to do is, whatever I measured here, I use 3 inches here. 3 inches here. You can come here and measure it. This is, okay, let's say this is 3 inch, or I can measure it from my bust line to make sure it is equal. For my bust line, it is 368. So this is my bust line here. I'm going to measure 368, and I will mark it. Oh, sorry, I'll mark it here. I'm going to mark it here. So I'm going to use the shape I used there. I will also use it here. So it's going to continue. So here I'm also going to measure it here. On the bust point is also the same 368. So I'm going to measure the 368 on from the bust line. Measure 368. So I'm going to connect. So this is the front and this is the back. So this is how it's going to be placed. This one will be here, and this one will be here, and this one will be here. So after doing this, there's what we call contour. So there's what we call contour in pattern drafting, and contour also goes alongside with gaping. Now we contour to avoid gaping. So what do we do? How do we contour? And most times contouring is done on the widest part of our neckline. Most times it is the neckline and also the under bust. So this is what we call contour. This is one type of contour. So I'm going to contour the neckline in order for it not to gape, in order for it not to be I don't know the label to use, free, like so that the neckline will not be free. It will be fitted and it's going to align with our body. So I'm going to contour now. Contour of the shape of our front is different from the shape of our back. That is the reason why I'm doing this only at the front. The back does not necessarily need contouring. So I've drawn out my guideline, then I'm going to measure out my contour lines. I'll contour the style line. This is what we call a style line. So I'm going to measure the amount of contour of measurement I'm using. So half inch, half inch, half inch. So as you can see, this is what we have. So I'm going to cut it out, then tape it back. I'll cut this out, tape it back, cut this out, and tape it back. I'll do the same thing here. So the first thing we'll do is we first of all cut out. Okay, now there's what we call labeling. I'm going to label this now. So this is the center front, side front. To be one, 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 one. This is side, back, two, two, center, back. So this one is also side, front, side, back, two, and back. So I'll go ahead and cut out. As you can see, it is not equal, so I'm just going to blend it. I'll blend it here, then cut it out. So now this is our so you can see, even as it is, you can still decide to add more panels if you want. You can still decide to add more panels. I decide to add more panels here. Now I forgot to shape the hip, so let me quickly do that. You can shape it to however you want, but I'm not going for too much, so I'm just I'll go for the basic. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Let me cut it out. So that's it. We are done with the drafting. So the next class is going to be cutting and sewing. So see you in the next class. Thank you.